Guys, it's interesting. I'm trying to decide whether or not I should even talk about this part, aspect of this topic. I don't know if you guys heard. Probably there's a few NBA players who have refused to take this stuff, and obviously the NBA players are being, ESPN as a corporation. They're part of ABC and Disney, and Disney's involved with, they're all in cahoots. Disney and Schmeiser and all these companies, they're all friends, right? So of course they're running anybody who doesn't want to take the stuff. They're the nicest people. You're talking about this. There's a guy who plays for the Orlando Magic. And they ran him through the mud. They're running pretty much anybody. These young black men who understand what's going on. They don't want to be coerced into taking this, and they're running them through the mud. They're basically running them through the mud. That's at best. And so today, there was a protest outside of Barclays Center in support of Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, one of the top, I guess you could say top three, if not, top five, if not top three basketball players in the world, in my opinion. The guy, if he wants, on any given night, can take over a game completely. I remember. Oh god, allergies. Oh my goodness. Whew. I remember in his rookie year, he was playing for the Cavaliers. I distinctly remember this game. He something happened. Something happened to like somebody hit him in the face, right? So then he had to wear one of those face, the face guards. It's like a clear face guard, right? Mask, whatever. So one night he comes into Madison Square Garden. The Cavs are playing the Knicks. This is when like LeBron went to Miami. All right, so they drafted Kyrie. So Kyrie's basically the guy in Cleveland, right? This is before LeBron came back. So Kyrie, the Cavs walk into Madison Square Garden. Kyrie, I think he dropped, like he went berserk, as we say. I think he might have dropped like 50 or 55 points. Also, like he had a monster game. It was like, here, my rookie year. Yeah, the masked game. No, I'm sorry. He had 41 points, but he went insane. The game masked Kyrie Irving was born. Yeah, it was like a black. I'm sorry, it was like a black mask. He looked like the Phantom of the Opera. And he just went off. He went off. This was in 2012, 9 years ago, December 15th, 2012, and that was his rookie year, and like people were like, "My God, this guy is insane. This guy is out of control, insane." 41 points as a rookie, and so yeah, the guy's he could just take over a game, and he's done something similar to that effect many times since then, and so now, my friends, he gets paid a lot of money. He's one of the top players in the league. He's one of the big three, and he plays for Brooklyn Nets. My friend is writing, they don't never want the Knicks or New York or Brooklyn to win a ring. Listen, I don't know about that, but they could have won last year. They screwed up, but like, here you have a guy, he makes $33.3 million a year. So I guess his contract, I'm assuming his contract is, you're talking probably $100 million over 3 years or whatever it is. Oh no, here you go. He's slated to make 35 mil, a little over 35 mil this year, and then next year $36.5 million. So the question is he even going to get that money because he's basically going to be sitting out. It could be that he sits out this year or half the year because he won't take the what. And my friends, so today there was a protest. Fans protested in support of him in front of Barclays Center. And guys, I've just been thinking. I've been thinking a lot about this in general before even COVID hit. I'm trying to say this without like getting myself in trouble. Not, and I don't mean in trouble with like algorithms or deplatforming. I mean in trouble like people misunderstanding me and taking what I'm saying into a completely different direction. Guys, I'm going to say this straight up. Slavery never ended in America. Slavery never ended in America. It was merely given like ornaments. It was given ornaments, and the people who were slaves, or the descendants of slaves, were basically given, some of them, not all of them, like a select few, a select, the best, how should I put this, the slaves that are in the best shape, right? White people basically, white people who really hate black, the ones who really hate black people, decided that, what are we gonna do? We're going to exploit these young black men. We're gonna cultivate them. We're gonna keep them in a particular culture. We're gonna keep them in a culture, and we're not gonna, we're gonna keep them in a situation where, and my friends, this started basically in the 60s. If you notice, for example, the trajectory, let's say, of the NBA, when did the NBA start being, for the most part, African American? Right? Guys, I don't know if you know the history of the NBA. The NBA was mostly Jewish and white. It's a bunch of Jews in the 50s, Naismith started basketball. James Naismith. I think he was a Jew from Canada. All of a sudden, you had African American men started coming into the NBA. 60s, Chamberlain, 70s, 80s. My friends, it coincided with the Great Society. It coincided with black people being pushed back into or kept in ghettos, to the point where black boys, even today you hear, I just want to get off these streets. This is my ticket out of the ghetto. What's the ticket out of the ghetto? To become one of three things. And I think Charles Barkley spoke about this, but the problem is, guys, me speaking about this, I don't really have the clout to speak about this. I'm not African American. I'm at best Middle Eastern. Okay? I'm not Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley spoke about it. He got a lot of flack for it. So you can imagine what I'm going to get right now. But you know what, my friends? This all relates to what I've been talking about on a deeper level, because so they kept black boys down. So to the point where they could only become an athlete or a rapper. They'll even tell you this, right? Yeah, my friend Denise, an African American woman, is watching this. She's saying, many people I knew went straight out of high school to college, playing football because become professional, then afterwards spend all their money later, no better than what they are in the beginning. This is true, yes. So they forced black boys into this like matrix, right, of sports and or entertainment, and so that you have the select few that make it, right? Select few. Some of them, go to Division I schools. Of those guys, let's say maybe small percentage make the NBA. The rest maybe play in Europe. Others don't. I don't know where they end up. I really don't. Maybe they go to business. I don't know. Most don't. So you have these select few boys, guys, men, 22-year-old guys. Now it's not even 22. Now it's 19. You have the one and done thing. You have these guys that go for 1 year to college, which is basically the colleges are using their brand, their name as to sell jerseys. You had a guy like Zion Williamson. He went to Duke for a year. You have all these kids who are going to like university for 1 year, playing there for 1 year. Kids buy their jerseys. They sell merchandise jerseys, and the colleges make money off these kids. These kids, I mean, whatever. There's theories that these kids get kickbacks from universities, but as far as we know, these kids are not making money, right? So until they get to the NBA. So the select few make the NBA, guys. They make a ton of money in the NBA. How many guys are in the NBA every year? How many employees, like, that are the player employees, does the NBA have? Right? You count, 12 guys per team. You have about 360 guys. You're talking about a little bit less than 400 guys are in are players in the NBA, right? So these guys are making, on average, the top salaries, you're talking about 35 million, 40 million a year. The average NBA salary is $8 million. That's the average salary of an NBA player, guys. So, right? So you have these kids who had basically essentially one choice in life, or one of two choices in life. Either they're going to get out of the ghetto and be in the NBA. I'm talking about the guys who made the NBA, right? So they're in the NBA. If they hadn't done that, guys, they would have been, let's say they would have gone to play in Europe for not that amount of money, way less than that, maybe like, I remember I was in Israel and I met these guys who played, also African-American guys who played for Maccabi Rishon LeZion, right? So they told me, it was actually very funny, kind of, they told me they're like, these guys were like potheads. I'm telling you, I'm sitting there like at a friend's house, and they're like, "Yeah, man, we're here. We're playing for Rishon. They don't even require us to practice." And they gave us. He's like, they gave us $250K for the year. It's not like a long contract. It's a 1-year contract, $250,000 or $200,000. An apartment is included. We have no expenses. So he's like, apartment included. Everything, car included. We don't have to come to practice. We practice whenever we want. He's like, whatever. We smoke, almost every day. And we're living the life. We go to the beach. We go to Tel Aviv. We go this. We go that. And I was like, wow. Like, okay, so you have those guys, right? So like, okay, that would be the other scenario, right? Go play in Europe. Israel is one of the better. Guys, most people know this. Israel, for example, is one of the better basketball leagues outside of the NBA. You're talking about Spain, Israel, Maccabi Tel Aviv, they win the Euro on a regular basis, the European Club Championship. So you have like Israel, Spain, I guess France, these kind of places. China has a decent league, but whatever. So some of these guys go play overseas, but like, it's okay. So now we're talking about the guys who are in the NBA, right? They make on average $8 million a year, right? And now you're coming to them, right? And now you're coming to them. You have laws in the state of New York, in the state of California, or I'm sorry, in the city of New York, and like, let's say the city of San Francisco, Bay Area, Oakland, right? They're saying everybody who's at these venues has to take the you-know-what, right? Including the players, right? So essentially, you've got these guys who, where their entire parnasa is this. That's their parnasa. They're not going to, like, I hate to say this, guys. Like, I always used to ask the question, if these guys weren't playing sports, what would they be doing in life? Denise Goltautis, can you answer this question? You can answer it better than I can. I'm actually asking the question, and if you can answer it, that would be great for the audience. Yeah, she's saying they barely have black coaches in the NFL, 2 or 3. Yeah, it's another thing. Like they're not giving access to these guys. They want the players. They want these black boys to be the running back workhorses. They want them to be the wide receivers because they run very fast. They want these big guys to be the linebacker, defensive end. Maybe some of them are offensive linemen. More and more now becoming quarterbacks. It used to be, guys, it used to be a thing in the 80s, I remember, where they used to say, they literally would say this, like analysts, sports analysts and GMs and coaches used to say, there's not a lot of black quarterbacks because they used to actually say this because it's a cerebral position. You had that one guy on the Washington Redskins, Doug Williams, who won the MVP of the Super Bowl, and he broke that whole stereotype. My friends, I'm telling you, like, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a guy on Florida State University who won the Heisman Trophy. I'll tell you the year. His name is Charlie Ward. And he won the Heisman Trophy. He was a quarterback of Florida State University in the year 1994. I mean, he was there for a few years. He won the Heisman in 1993. He threw 27 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I'm just looking at the stats. He rushed for like a good amount of yards. He won the Heisman. My friends, there wasn't one NFL team that considered drafting him that year. So he says, upon graduation, stated he was undecided about professional basketball. He played basketball also for Florida State, but he was like all right in basketball. He was okay. and made it clear that he would not consider playing in the NFL unless selected in the first round. So basically, he wanted to go in the first round. He was a Heisman Trophy winner because teams were just like, I mean, it's also a thing that teams tend not to draft quarterbacks in the first round. It's a big risk, right? But teams have drafted quarterbacks in the first round. They drafted Dan Marino, they drafted John Elway, they drafted guys like that, Kosar, other guys, but they weren't going to draft a black quarterback in the first round in 1994, even if he won 3 Heismans in a row, okay? See, Ward proclaimed that he deserved to be a first rounder. Ward's mother reported that the family was told he was probably a 3rd to 5th round pick due to a smaller, so they said small stat. He was a short guy, and uncertainty about whether he would play in the NBA. Oh, so they used the excuse of because he said he might be playing in the NBA. BS, okay? Ward was not selected in the first round of the NFL draft, okay? Having been chosen in the first round of he was chosen in the first round of the NBA draft, my friends. I didn't even know. Honestly, guys, I remember following college football at that time when I was 13 years old, and college basketball and the NBA. I didn't even know that this guy played basketball in college. I didn't even know that. And then I remember the Knicks drafted him. I was like, they drafted the guy who won the Heisman Trophy in football? I was like, what? And then I looked at the highlights in Florida State in basketball. I was like, he's all right. He's not the greatest. He's all right. He's good enough for NBA, but he's not. He was a really good football player. He was very good. His coach was, what's his name? I forget the name of that. He's a famous coach in Florida State. So, it says, inquiry was made during Ward's rookie year with the Knicks for him to become backup quarterback for Joe Montana of the Kansas City Chiefs, but Ward declined. Oh, so there was an option to do that. Ward was the only Heisman Trophy winner to play in the NBA. My friends, I mean, you understand what's going on, right? So, this is what they did, right? So they basically said, these kids basically have no other options in life, right? So now we have a situation, guys, years have gone by, and these guys are making a ton of money. And now you're coming to these black guys, right? And we know that there's a history of, malfeasance, shall we say, by the American government, by pharma companies, different entities with African American people and medications and all kinds of medical experiments. We know that only 30% of African Americans are taking this stuff, maximum 40%. There's a lot of skepticism among them, and rightfully so. And now you come into these guys where it's their only parnasa, and people are depending on them, families, entire communities sometimes, towns, neighborhoods. And you're telling them, listen, if you don't take this stuff, you can't play. Or if you don't take this stuff, you can't play in this arena, you're going to play half the season. Or, we're going to suspend you. Or this, without pay, half pay, quarter pay, whatever it is, whatever the policy is. I don't know. My friends, this is how they keep people in slavery. It's glorified slavery. And this is how they keep the slaves in line. They say, the parnasa that we cultivated you for our own personal entertainment, for the entertainment of a bunch of people who need to be, we need to distract them, okay? Yes, my friends say, my African-American friend watching say, this is true because of the experiments done on them in the past in the South, yeah, and Tuskegee. So, and now we're going to tell them, these boys, if you don't take the stuff, if you don't take it, you're gone. Have a nice day. Depending on the state you live in, depending on the arena you play in. My friends, and you could say that what I'm saying is BS, right? Because they're making the guys in the NHL do the same thing, right? The hockey players. Okay, so it's mostly white guys, okay? But at the end of the day, again, guys, these guys are also cultivated for a certain, they've basically transposed or transferred the same, methodology or ideology. What they're doing with black boys, they're doing it with these kids. These kids are coming out, like NHL, for example, guys, they don't even go to college, most of these guys. They come out of high school. A lot of these kids, let's say in Canada, right? They come out of high school, they go to playing what's called a junior, right? So they even start during high school. They play since they're 15, 16, 17, 18, and junior. They get drafted, right? So a lot of these kids, again, these kids get drafted, not all of them make the NHL. They start playing for the AHL, they start going back to junior, some of them go to Europe, Some of them maybe spend their whole, career in minor leagues. A lot of these guys go back into, let's say, coaching, right? So fine. They're not going to be in the ghetto, right? They have there's a different cultural dynamic there, right? But again, it's more or less the same concept, guys, right? These guys are, that's their dream. They want to get to this light league. They want to get to this level. And somebody's coming and telling them, well, listen, man, like, you're providing entertainment for these people and you're playing in this arena. This is the law in this state or this city. Comply or, pack up your stuff and go home. Pack your stick, pack your bag, all your equipment and get on a plane and go back to Western Canada or, I don't know, Ontario or wherever the hell you're from. Minnesota. These days it's more, it's more than a few places. It used to be like in America, it used to be Minnesota, Massachusetts. If you're in America, let some places in Illinois, maybe New York, and the rest are Canada. Today, guys, we have kids from all over the country. We have kids from Florida playing hockey in the NHL. We have kids from California, kids from Texas, kids from everywhere, right? And our friend saying ultimatums even in the medical field given to many. Yeah, listen, guys, but if you look specifically at the NFL and the NBA, guys, 90 to 95% of these leagues are African American men who know their own history, who know the history of what's going on. There was a guy, Wiggins, the guy on the Golden State Warriors, he said he wasn't going to take it. And then, interestingly enough, his coach, Steve Kerr, made a public statement in his stead saying, yeah, Wiggins took it. Honestly, guys, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. He decided to take, he buckled, he capitulated. There was an incredible video. I don't know if I could play it, guys. I don't know if you guys could hear it. Bradley Beal. He plays for the Washington Wizards, and he gave an incredible press conference where he basically checkmated this. I'll play you two clips, Bradley Beal, and then I'll play you guys this other guy on the Orlando Magic. Amazing guys. So Bradley Beal, he gave an incredible, he checkmated this guy. It was incredible. He checkmated not just him, he checkmated anybody who was has zero seichel about this issue, right? So here, I'm gonna play you guys this clip. 1 second. Here you go. Watch this, or listen.
Every player, every person in this world is gonna make their own decision for themselves. I would like an explanation to, people with vaccines. Why are they still getting COVID? If that's something that we are supposed to highly be protected from. It's funny that, it reduces your chances of going to the hospital. It doesn't eliminate anybody from getting COVID, right? So is everybody in here vaxxed? I would assume, right? So you all can still get COVID, right? Okay, but you can still get COVID. Right. So, and you can still pass it along with the vax, right? I'm just asking a question.
Oh, sure. And so, having COVID back around the Olympics, that, basically just saying, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but having it change your opinion one way or another, did it kind of re-emphasize, I don't need the vaccine because of that?
No, that wasn't the case. I mean, yeah, I had it, but that doesn't mean I can't get it again, I mean, it's no different than somebody with the vaccine. I developed the antibodies for it, so my chances will be less likely now as well, right? But it's still a possibility I may get it. Just like there are players and coaches and staff who are vaxxed and missing camp right now because of it, so.
My friends, I mean, this guy, all he did right there was speak logic. He's trying to speak logic. And the guy started going, you guys heard the reporter going around in circles and this and that. I'm going to play you guys another clip. Jonathan Isaac, this guy you guys probably remember this guy. Like, he made a whole thing last year about Black Lives Matter, where he was talking from a very, you know, spiritual perspective. This guy's a Christian, you know, he's one of these guys, like, he's very devout Christian. And I want to play you guys this clip from him. This guy is, forget it. This guy is just like, I mean, class is not even the word, honestly. See, they're like already characterizing him. Anti-vaccine rant. Rant. The guy talks like a normal human being. Anti-vaccine rant. Like, you know, guys, this is what I'm saying. I was saying this in the beginning of this video, like, this is when they can't answer the actual issue, all they do, here, I'll play for you guys this video, and they just label you. They label you, and that's the end of the discussion. Here, I'll play you guys the video.
What is it about the vaccine that makes you
listen to him very carefully. Listen to the way he talks.
I would start with, I've had COVID in the past, and so our understanding of antibodies, of natural immunity.
Guys, this is Israel Studies.
Changed
He's talking about Israel Studies.
Pandemic, and it's still evolving. I understand that the vaccine would help if you catch COVID, and you'll be able to have less symptoms from contracting it. But with me having COVID in the past and having antibodies, with my current age group and physical fitness level, it's not necessarily a fear of mine. Taking the vaccine, like I said, it would decrease my chances of having a severe reaction, but it does open me up to the, albeit rare chance, but the possibility of having an adverse reaction
exactly,
to the
guys.
vaccine itself.
And I'll speak to that, by the way.
I don't believe that being unvaccinated means infected, or being vaccinated means uninfected. You can still catch COVID with or without having the vaccine. I would say, honestly, the craziness of it all, in terms of not being able to say that it should be everybody's fair choice without being demeaned or talked crazy to, doesn't make one comfortable to do what the person is telling them to do. I would say that's a couple of the reasons that I would say I'm hesitant at this time, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that it is anyone's reason to come out and say, well, this is why or this is not why. It should just be their decision, and loving your neighbors, not just loving those that agree with you or look like you or move in the same way that you do. It's loving those who don't.
My friends, you have to understand, and this is something that I said before. This guy is basically saying, right? What is he saying?
You had invested in Google, Tesla.
Sorry, I was going to add. What is he essentially saying? He's saying, my body is my vehicle to Parnassa, right? My body is my Parnassa vehicle, my income vehicle, right? So now you're telling me, he goes, I had COVID, right? So we know from Israeli studies, and I'm sure he's researched this, my friends, and I'm sure his doctors have told him that if you have antibodies, you are more protected than you would be had if you take the you-know-what, right? So now he's making the calculus. He's saying, well, okay, so yes, there's a very, very small chance that I can have side effects from this stuff. But if we're saying that I already had COVID and then I have antibodies and I'm a healthy guy, and this, that, and the other, and I'm not going to infect anybody else because I have antibodies, right? So I'm not going to get infected in the near future. Then why am I going to take something that even has an off chance of hurting me? Like, why am I going to do that and risk? My friends, there was another guy, what's his name? The guy he's now on the Knicks, but he was on the Atlanta Hawks last year, and he took it, and he had an issue. He had blood clots. 24-year-old guy, 25-year-old guy, guys. So, Baruch Hashem, it passed, and this guy can continue to play. He can continue to have a career and have Parnassa. But guys, I mean, like, these guys, this is all they have. And what they have is worth to them millions of dollars. And they were actually pushed into that position, guys like them rather, were pushed into that position in life, right? You could say, well, no, they have free choice. They don't have to be basketball players. My friends, a lot of these kids, if you come to them in the ghetto, they'll tell you, this is the ticket out. This is the ticket out, guys. It's either that, or maybe they'll go play overseas. Some of them will be, you know, they say ballers or rappers, right? I'm not saying all of them are. I'm not saying that's what they're made to do. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it's a very prevalent thing. So now these kids, that's their parnasa. Now you're telling them, you have to take this. Even if you have immunity and antibodies and this and that and the other, you have to take this, or, you know, pack your stuff and go home. Maybe not even get a salary. My friends, well, you can come and say, well, these guys already made their money and they probably saved it and they probably invested it and they have, you know, money managers, and, you know, why are you crying for them? They have a lot of money already saved. You know, they have the luxury of, you know, quitting. Like Kyrie Irving has a luxury of quitting, right? He has a luxury of just saying the hell, you know, screw everything and let me go, I don't know, make music or something, or I don't know, go travel the world or go play in China or whatever. He has a luxury of doing that now, right? But a lot of these guys, you see, a lot of these guys, my friends, have capitulated. They've taken it because they want to continue playing. Natural immunity should be enough, but it is not. And yes, in poverty, any way out is welcome for most. Yeah, with these guys, my African American friend saying this, she's backing me up here. Okay, she's backing me up. I'm not alone. Okay, guys. I mean, this is basically, you know. Before I started with this video on this topic, I you know, there's two phrases, there's two sources that kind of go through my head when I think about topics like this and how I'm going to talk about them. One is in Pirkei Avos. It says, you know, not everything. It says, don't say something that may not readily be understood, in the hopes that it'll eventually be understood, right? Another one is from the Kotzker Rebbe, where he said, you know, he had a famous thing, not everything that's thought should be said, not everything that's said should be written down, whatever, not everything that's written down should be published, right? So one of the things is not everything that's thought should be said. But my friends, I mean, like, you know, I'm constantly breaking this rule anyway, and honestly, these are things that should be spoken about, because clearly, I think the only other person that's going to speak about this issue in the way that I'm speaking about it right now, maybe, is Kwame Brown. Kwame Brown is black. Kwame Brown is a former NBA player. Kwame Brown was the first high school player to be picked number 1 in the NBA draft. This is, you know, so before LeBron James, there was Kwame Brown. He was picked by Michael Jordan, actually, to the Washington Wizards in the year 2000. And he was subsequently crushed by Jordan, because he had to play with Jordan, he had to play, you know, practice with Jordan, and be berated by Jordan, and he was, you know, 17, 18-year-old kid going through that, okay? But apart from that, this guy knows exactly what, you know, young black men go through in the inner city. You know, he's himself, I think he's from South Carolina originally. He knows exactly what they go through in the NBA. He knows exactly what is being done to them by the powers that be in ESPN. And, you know, we're talking the ESPN, which is under ABC, which is under Disney, which is in cahoots with all these companies. My friends, I'm the second person, maybe another person is talking about this, I'm not sure who, but as far as I know, I'm one of 2 people. I'm probably the only non-black person talking about this issue in the way that I'm talking about it. And again, I had friends that messaged me and they said, you know, Tzvi, maybe you might be right in what you're saying, but you have no place to talk about this because you're not black. and it's like, it would be like people who are not Jewish talking about Jewish issues, controversial issues in a certain way. Honestly, guys, I don't get upset when people do that. You know, a lot of people get upset. They say, they scream anti-Semitism. I personally don't get upset. You know, I don't get upset with when Curtis Sliwa talks about the Jewish community and what the issues in the Jewish community. I don't get upset because, you know what? I'm able to digest the truth, no matter who it comes from. You know, as Rambam said. Yeah, see, my African American friend is saying, oh, you can talk about this? It is appropriate. Okay, so I'm getting a carte blanche from my African American viewer. So, and I'm sure more others. So, guys, I mean, like, I'm looking at this, you know, and now you have these people protesting outside of Barclays Center. You know, guys, if we just zoom out for a second, we'll see that, this is bigger than, young black men in the NBA. This is going to go into all facets of society. You see like basketball fans are upset. Black people, BLM is upset, my friends. BLM. There were people who got into a fight with a maitre d', people who were actually, rioting or protesting being active on the side of. Sorry. They were being paid by the people that are trying to get us to take this stuff. Last summer they were being paid by those people, and now they're saying, oh, by the way, when it comes to this, we're not going to let you control us. We're going to have our own opinion. We're talking about Black Lives Matter, and we are saying we don't want to take this stuff, or we are saying we don't want to be coerced. We don't want to be, like mandated, forced, coerced, whatever it is. My friends, no, I remember like I had friends in Israel tell me, nobody's forcing anybody. My friends, when you're telling somebody you're going to lose your job, that's called forcing. That is forcing. That is coercion, duress, and actually forcing. Because what are people supposed to do? They're supposed to live on the box on the street. My friends, I'll end with this. If we go over the pond, across the pond to Israel, there was a Ethiopian Knesset member, Ethiopian Jewish Knesset member. He's actually part of Likud. He got up in the Knesset last week and he basically said, I'm just paraphrasing, he basically said that, we're skating on thin ice in this country. He said, the Ministry of Health is inciting. They are inciting citizens against each other. They're causing incitement. They are basically ostracizing 1 million or more people in Israel. It's probably more at this point because there's a lot of people that took 2 shots. They're not going to take the third, right? And a lot of people just didn't take any shots. So, or maybe took 1. So he said, you guys are inciting citizens against each other. You're creating division in the country. He said, this is not going to end well. He goes, for now, Israelis are not really protesting. They're kind of, it's interesting. It's funny to say that about Israelis because Israelis are not usually docile people. They're very tough. But when it comes to protesting against the government, Israelis are very kind of like lackadaisical. They're very docile. They do what the government says. The government says there's an emergency and Israelis go and do what they're told. So he said, there's going to come a point where you're going to push citizens to the edge and you're basically going to get, it's going to boil over and it's not going to be a good result, my friends. I'm telling you guys, again, and this is a black, basically Ethiopian Jew who got up in Knesset and said this, guys. My friends, this is not going to end well. People are going to be pushed to the limit. They're going to be, if they lose their job and they have no parnasa and they have to live, I don't know, God knows where, and they have to do God knows what, and their family, support their families, whatever it is, you're going to, it's like the song, don't push me because I'm close to the edge, you're going to push them and they're trying not to lose their heads. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder how keep them going under. My friends, if they go under, oh, my friend's saying she's moving to Israel soon. No, good luck. But my friends, if you cause these people to go under, they're going to grab pitchforks, okay? And flames and like, tiki torches. They're going to come after you. And I'm not talking about, you will not replace us, whatever, white supremacy. I'm talking about like all citizens. I'm talking about black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Jewish. My friends, this is what these people don't understand. Maybe they're trying to cause this. Maybe they're trying to cause some kind of an uprising, or something so they could squash it. But my friends, we're going to lead to this. This is where we're leading to. And for sure in Israel, I was talking to my mother the other day. She said, I really hope that Israel has some kind of an explosion in a positive sense. Not an explosion like Chas v'Shalom terror attacks or a bus exploding. We're talking about a political explosion to the point where people just have had enough of this crap. Okay? People who took 2 shots who regret it, who are not going to take the third, who are not going to be coerced, okay? Or forced or bullied or called, that they're walking around with Delta guns, shooting their fellow citizens. This is what Bennett said, my friends. This is going to start with our African American brothers and sisters in sports and also just in society, and it's going to go into the rest of society, my friends. And it's not going to be about race anymore. It's just going to be about human decency, and like, that's basically it. And these quote unquote self-appointed patricians and self-appointed, these kind of elite class are going to realize that, you know what, you can't hold the populace, you cannot hold the what they call the plebs, the commoners, okay, down for too long, because at some point things just boil over, my friends. We've seen it in, well, unfortunately in Russia, we've seen it in France, we've seen it, my friends, every so often we see it in history, where the people just go, and I'm not talking about just, Occupy Wall Street and this, some of these protests we've seen recently. I'm talking about, like, as they say in France, révolution. Okay, guys? Révolution. Like, serious stuff. To the point where people just say, like, you know what? We're taking back the power for the people, by the people, from these elites, from these, World Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab's and all these just overlords. These non-voted, people who are not voted in, these like bureaucrats who are appointed for life. You're talking about like Dr. Mousy, who's there for 40 years, and other bureaucrats like him. You're talking about these agencies where the people who were appointed by presidents, we don't know who the hell decided this, who the hell died and made them king, how the hell did we get them out? Who are they? Who the hell are they, my friends? Thank you very much, Denise. Yes, amen, amen, and may Hashem bless you as well. Like, my friends, people are just going to get fed up. Not just basketball players, okay? Or people are just going to stop going to games. And then what is the NBA going to do? I was watching Alan Silver, the commissioner in the NBA. I think the guy is shaking in his space boots. He realizes that, like, this represents his existence. He's the commissioner of a sports league, right? He's not even the CEO of like a company that produces anything. He's the commissioner of a company where the product is guys running up and down the court trying to put a ball on a hoop, and he knows if that stops, he's done. He's dead. There's no point to sell jerseys. There's no point to sell anything, any merchandise, because there's nothing happening. The arena is closed, my friends. Same thing for the commissioner of the NHL, Bettman. Same thing with the commissioner of the NFL, Major League Baseball. Go to Europe, soccer. These guys, the owners of the soccer teams, my friends, they're smart. You go to England, you see packed, what's it called? Packed stadiums. Because you know what, guys? The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, is like, you know what? No. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this insanity. Okay, and we don't know how many people are vaxxed. Maybe most people are, but like, these stadiums are packed, my friends. All over the country, Italy, not so much. Spain, not so much. Germany, I'm not sure. England, the stadiums are packed. So, my friends, at the end of the day, something's going to have to give. Something's going to have to give. And the slavery, not just the slavery of these poor African American guys, who look like they're making, and they are making a lot of money, but in the end of the day, it's like all or nothing for them, right? So the slavery is going to have to end. Their slavery is going to have to end. The slavery of all of us, on some level, is going to have to end. And we're going to take back our countries and our lives. And what I mean by our lives, not the lives that we had before this. I'm talking about, like, we're going to elevate ourselves, beyond going back to normal, like I said, to our restaurants and all this other nonsense. We're going to take back our lives and elevate our lives to the next level of just development, human development, right? Or if you're talking about Israel or the Jewish people, we're going to go to the next stage of Jewish history. because we have to, my friends. You know, we took back Jerusalem in 1967, and then everything, like my friend says, everything stopped. My friend Yehuda Cohen, Rabbi Yehuda Cohen, he's like, everything stopped, you know? Our spiritual revolution has been put on pause. My friends, no, we have to continue. The world has to continue. The world has been stagnant for too long. We've been staying in neutral for too long, or actually in park, really. And we have to like try to get out, at least get out of first gear. We have to, we must. Because otherwise all we're doing is just going to ball games and vacations and sitting in our cubicles, and round and round and round we go, my friends. Where it stops, nobody knows, and it's just not worth anything. Again, my friends, people tell me, Tzvi, you won't be able to go here and there and everywhere, in restaurants and here. And I said, you know, it's like the Joker says, there's nothing you can threaten me with. My friends, there's nothing you can threaten me with. I didn't care about restaurants before this. I don't care about them now. I still don't care about them. So you can't lose something you never valued. Okay? And I work in the wine industry. And I sell wine to stores, and I sell wine to restaurants sometimes. Mostly liqueur, and I just don't care about going to restaurants and, you know, whatever it is. So, guys, we're going to elevate. Society's going to elevate, you know? And I give props to these guys, Bradley Beal, Jonathan Isaac, Kyrie Irving, and there's more with that, and even Wiggins, the guy on Golden State, and there's more like them, guys. And also I think it was what's his name? Draymond Green spoke out. Yeah, guys, we're gonna get there, and Zat Hashem. All right, guys, that's enough for me. It was a bit of a rant. I really hope people kind of understood what I'm saying, and the message was clear. I hope nobody took it the wrong way. I really do. And if you did, listen, I don't know what to tell you. Listen to it a second time, a third time, and maybe you'll get it. All right, guys. Lila Tov.